Phillies and Gentlecles, I welcome you to another edition of Pony Fanfiction Theater. I'm your host Nate. I will be your narrator as usual. With me is John as usual, and a new special guest, Edgewood Blake 83.
Which on YouTube I'm called Edgewood Blake. Edgewood Blake 83 was my old account that got closed down.
Oh no. Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna read. I was requested to read this story. Story is called Rocket to Insanity, and it's a story inspired by Sergeant Sprinkle's Cupcakes fanfic. And it has a little warning to it. Warning, this work of fiction contains material that may be sensitive to some readers. Murder, gore, and death. Your discretion is advised. Read along if you like. If you dare. It's in the description. And right now, Edgewood is going to read this little quote here in the story.
There's an evil within the hearts of all ponies. Such is the balance of nature. Good can only prevent for so long before evil musters its forces and seizes upon the heart, twisting friendships into war, loyalty into deceit, and kindness into unaltered hate.
And let's begin this story then. Screams echo through the cloud palace of Rainbow Dash's home. The filly startled wide awake in a cold sweat, terror surging through her veins. Nightmares again. The 7th time this month, and it has always been the same one. This one with the cupcakes. Flashes of memory lance through her head, wings being hacked off and ripped from their sockets. Needles plunged into her beating heart, adrenaline injected into her body to keep her awake and alert as the torture went on. The smell of her own flesh cooking, the sight of her own blood and gore spilling from their surgically incised belly. The mastermind behind her terror toying with those glistening organs like they were party favors. She knew in her heart that Pinkie Pie would never be capable of doing such a gruesome act, but it thought didn't help to make the dreams any less vivid. The Pegasus pony sobbed openly, curling up in her blanket and rocking back and forth as her body trembled with fear. She hadn't told everyone about her dreams, about the lingering feeling of steel piercing flesh and blade cutting bone. Her work had suffered because of the constant night terrors, the nightmares being so powerful that she was simply afraid of going back to sleep. Some nights staying up altogether in an attempt to stave off the horrors for just one more night. And every pony wondered why she spent most of her day napping in the open, in the daylight. Because in the shining brilliance of the sun, it was the only way she could actually rest. But even then, the black clutches of her fear-addled subconscious have begun to creep even into that relative safety. Following her through the dreaming world, Dash whimpered as tears. Oh, damn it! I lost my way.
Streak down her face.
Round of applause.
Yeah. I've lost my way again.
Dash whimpered as tears streaked down her face.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to find that. Yeah, Dash whimpered as tears streaked down her face, staining the fur of her cheeks as wide eyes darted around the darkened scenery of her room. Heart pounding in her chest as breath came before hiccuping sobs. Her wings clinging tight against her form as paranoia began to clutch at the edges of her mind. Shadows lurched and moved in her peripheral vision, routine natural noises becoming distorted and echoing within her mind. As adrenaline surged through her shivering form, this wasn't healthy. Her mind was slowly breaking under the horrors of her subconscious mind. Things that no pony should ever even have the slightest thought about chipping away in her psyche. She was starting to crack.
If I should add something here, Cupcakes was all a dream.
Oh, it's not. It's real.
Or is it?
It's real. In my eyes, it's real.
We'll see.
Rainbow Dash, Rainbow Dash. Has Has any pony seen Rainbow Dash around? Applejack trotted through the streets of Ponyville, looking high and low for the town's resident speedster pony. Bystanders just shook their head and shrugged. Horse feathers. Figures that pony's nowhere to be seen when you really need her. The cow pony sighed and continued on through town, hoofbeats kicking up dust as she looked into the sky for the Pegasus pony. "Con-sighted Rainbow Dash, where in the wild world in Equestria are you?" A long yawn from the branches of a tree behind her met her answer. The pony in question dipping her head down and gazing at Applejack from an upside-down position. What, Applejack? What is it that's so important that you got to interrupt my napping?" The western pony stamped the hoof on the ground, scowling at the Pegasus. "Now you know why I'm just making a fuss in finding you. You said you were going to bring over a little rainstorm in the crops at Sweet Arkville Acres nearly 2 hours ago. Instead, I find you here in the tree snoozing your little behind off." Dash gave a groan, slipping out of the tree and landing on her hooves, shaking her head. She looked more disheveled than usual, her mane a mess, dark bags under her eyes from many a sleepless night. She looked pale, sickly almost, yet still tried to put on an air of cheerfulness. She heaved a yawn before giving a dismissive wave to Applejack. Yeah, keep your saddle on. I'll get it to it right now. Sorry and stuff. As the Pegasus pony turned and spread her wings to take off, Applejack tilted her head to the side and gave a little frown. Dash, you feeling okay? You look under the weather. Dash grumbled, shrugging her shoulders as she gave her... damn it, every time I press down, it freaking changes the thing.
Nice job.
Shut up. She gave her wings a little test flap. Fine, was the only response from the Pegasus. The cow ponies behind her stepped forward and giving Dash's aside a little nudge with her snout. You sure about that? She was cut off by a Pegasus suddenly jerking away from Applejack, darting up to the air as her eyes went wide. Don't touch me. I'm fine, honest, just... She nearly spilled the beans right then and there, but refrained. She couldn't take the chance that another pony might think different of her because she was being scared out of her mind every night by some stupid nightmare. Her body gave a little shiver. As Applejack looked on with concern, I gotta go. Before Applejack could say anything further, Dash was off like a rocket towards Sweet Apple Acres, leaving the cow pony just to scratch her head in confusion. That girl ain't right. Another terror-filled night. Dash lay curled upon the floor of her cloud house, blankets swathed her around her shivering form. It was worse this time. She had been flayed open, set upon the dining table of a pink earth pony as slabs of her own meat, dripping with her life fluids as sheared from her flanks, served to all of her friends, herself still somehow alive to be aware of the entire situation. Hearing the laughter as they devoured her living form, as fork and knife dug into her innards, tearing her apart. She was nothing more than a slab of meat for her friends' enjoyment. Hiccups punctured through heavy sobs as the Pegasus pony clutched at her head. The visions of her nightmares had been visiting upon her, ingrained within her memory. Every horrible detail, from the fiery pain of rended flesh to the sickening sound of innards being torn and ripped out of her belly, was cast a vivid depiction.
Isn't it beautiful?
She whined as she lay curled tightly upon the floor, sniffing as tears gushed from her eyes. Just leave me alone, why don't you leave me alone? She hiccuped, rocking back and forth. I don't deserve this. Stay out of my head. Get out of my head, please, just get out of my head. Fear turned into anger, Dash beating her hooves against her temples. Get out! She wept openly, grinding her forehead against the floor of her room, hooves pounding at her head. Hooves pounding and pounding at her head, bruising the flesh as pent up frustration and sleep deprivation erupted in an agonized scream of rage and sorrow. Another night, another crack at the window. Every pony had noticed it. It was the way she walked, the way she talked. The body language just screamed it. Gone was Rainbow Dash, that cheerful brash speedster replaced by some hollow shell. She drifted aimlessly about all over Ponyville, as weeks of interrupted sleep had taken its toll upon her. All of her friends knew that something was up, but none of them knew exactly what to do. She had pushed them away when they tried to confront her, lashing out like a wounded animal any time they tried to console her or plead her to get help. Too headstrong, some would say, too proud others still. But none of them realized the gravity of the situation until that one fateful day, the day that Rainbow Dash finally snapped. It had been an unseasonably warm spring day in Ponyville. Every pony was out enjoying the temperate weather, from foals to colts and then some. As every pony went on their business, Lyra and Bonbon chatting it up beneath their usual table at the cafe, Applejack selling their first harvest from Sweet Apple Acres, as ponies lined up for those ruby delectables. And within the candy corner, Pinkie Pie was busy darting to and fro in the kitchen, baking up a storm. She glanced at the clock every now and then, frowning each time before the bell to the doors finally rang over. A haggard-looking Rainbow Dash entering the shop. "Rainbow, you're finally here. Oh, I've been so worried about you. You've been all mopsy-dopsy. So I thought I'd ask you to come visit me so I can make you feel extra super special and cheer you up. But then you didn't show up when I thought you were going to, and I was all sad you were going to stay cooped in your house all day. But then you came in, and now you're here, and now we can have some fun." Dash merely looked at her blankly before shaking her head and stumbling forward. "Whatever, Pinkie. What do you want me here for?" The energetic Earth Pony bounced in the kitchen, one towards one of the many ovens of the candy corner, before pulling the door down, reaching in and pulling out a tray of puffy, fluffy cupcakes with a generous slithering of icing upon them. She spun around, grinning widely as she showed the baked goods off to Dash. "I made you cupcakes." Dash paled.
Oh, God.
Mind flashed back to the earliest of those nightmares, the most vivid, the most intense, a tray of cupcakes, tasting it, finding motor scares rapidly deteriorating, stumbling as her body shot down under the effects of some unknown drug, Pinkie Pie looming over her with that trademark grin, eyes gleaming as the world dimmed around her, and there it was, happening for real. Vision became hazed as the world began to spin around her. The Pegasus stumbling back and shaking her head, whispering under her breath, "No, no, 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 no." She backed up, eyes wide with fear as she shook her head violently, looking around frantically for a way out. Any way out? The window? The door? No, no, no. I don't want them. I'm not gonna let you. Let me out of here. Let me out of here. Pinkie merely tilted her head to the side quizzically, setting the tray down, lifting a few of the cut cakes out and plating them, bouncing over to the shivering Rainbow Dash and offering the plate to the Pegasus. Dash stared at him. They were the same color, same kind. "Run!" And a voice in her head said, "Run, run, you idiot, run!" A hoof lashed out, smacking a plate out of Pinkie Pie's hooves. "I said I don't want them! I don't know what you're doing. It's not going to work." Pinkie Pie frowned at the discarded cupcakes, but in typical Pinkie fashion, she just shrugged and went about cleaning them out, humming to herself. "Maybe you don't like the avocado icing. That's okay. I plenty more so we can make some to your liking. Is that okay, Rainbow Dash?" She glanced back. The Pegasus pony let out a panicked, whimpering noises, eyes fixated on the pony before her, pupils nearly pinpricks as fear and adrenaline coursed through her veins. She was pinned between Pinkie and the wall behind her, chest heaving with heavy gasps. Her sleep-deprived, horror-filled her mind played in the scene from her nightmares over and over again, of the saw rending through flesh, cutting through bone, run, get away, scalpel, piercing her breast, dragging through flesh down to her groin, flaying her open like some sick sort of piñata. Move. Just get away, get away, get away. She was hiding for ventilating by now, no longer seeing a longtime friend but a horrific, sadistic butcher. Do something! And then she saw it, that shining, sharp protector, just sitting there on the table next to her. The voice within her mind whispered to her like a seductive lover, something sounding so wrong but so right at the same time. Kill her. Dash hesitated. Part of her wanted to scream, another to run, but yet another to consider the request. Kill her before she kills you. Her mind was a maelstrom of conflicting thoughts. the Pegasus feeling sick to her stomach, weak in the knees, the beat of her own heart pounding within her head. Take the knife. She stared at it, hoof slowly stretching out. Trembling as part of her still ward, still tried to reason. Take it. Take the knife. Tears streamed down her face as her hoof hovered above the handle of the tool, turned a weapon, as if the last frayed strands of her sanity knew what was happening.